different view from the wood pile here. Here's some oak back here that's seasoning down. So that we're standing on here, trying to balance on. And there's a little better view of some of the wood pile, the bigger one. There's still a lot of wood in there, just some of it's kind of buried. So what I'm gonna do here soon is I'm gonna get something to nail in some of those, kind of just hammer it in some of those big logs, something like an eye bolt, a big eye bolt. Or maybe I'll drill into them and then just kind of screw it in there. And then I'm gonna hook a chain or something to it with my truck and try to pull them all out there on the flat land. And I'm gonna try to spend the whole day doing that. And the other day I walked around here and recorded some of it, but I never did upload the footage. There's oaks down all through here. I mean, all over the place that are seasoned, that have been down for around 3 years now. And there's 200 acres here and they're all over it. This is just the easier stuff to get. That's why I'll get it from here. But once this is depleted, and it probably will be this year, this pile back here, once it is, then I'll be getting it from just all over this land, really. There's all kinds of logging roads. Like there's one right there that goes that way. There's another one over there that goes that way. There's another one over there that goes that way. There's the one I come in on, which is over there. You can't hardly tell. Then that way, before I come in, all down through his property, is oaks down all over the place. And not just oaks, there's other trees as well. But there's a lot of stuff back here still. So I've got enough for this year and probably next year as well right now. But I get wood from other places too, though, not just here, when I need it. Like right now, I know where another big oak is that's down that I can probably go get. And find sources all the time. I can contact the tree services again, which I probably will do, and start getting it from them again. But for now, anyways, we're gonna get started here. Telling Carter just now to be careful walking on this stuff because he fell. Not bad, but you always got to be careful, and I tell him that a lot. But when I was a little boy, I remember seeing he was a little bit older than me. I was probably around Carter's age, probably around 10 years old. And I walked outside on my mama's porch. She lived in town, and there was a boy, and I had just seen him just a little bit before that, and he had fell asleep in this plastic chair that was on her porch. And I seen him. I went out there just a little bit later, and he had fell asleep in that chair, fell backwards into these bushes, and a branch had went through one side of his arm and all the way out the other side of his arm and broke off. So that's how sticks are very dangerous. And that was his arm. Imagine it going through your neck or your face. So I always worry with my kid with sticks, period. If my kids got sticks a lot of times at home, I just tell them to throw them down, because it's not worth them running and falling with it and sticking it through them. Buy them a little plastic sword or something just to throw the sticks down. Even though when I was a little boy, we used to sword fight with them and all kinds of stuff all the time and have battles with them. We did all kinds of crazy stuff. But that doesn't mean I want my kids doing it. Surprised I didn't get hurt a lot more than I did. I never broke a bone in my life. I've had my nose broke twice when I was younger, but I've never yet to this day broke a bone other than that. I like to keep it that way. I like to keep my kids that way too. But one of my little boys, my other one, he's the wild child. He's the one I worry about the most. Okay, I got most of it bucked up and loaded already. I've actually got most of it loaded. So this is where I've been getting it from today. And what I've mainly got is actually everything that I have is red oak. And there was one walnut tree in there too. I've got a couple more pieces here of the red that I'm gonna get. I'm down in here. You can't really tell it. Truck's uphill a little bit. And I made me a path right there around that log going right to the truck. You see I've got it loaded down pretty well. What I'm gonna do, it's gonna be much more work, but the sun goes down now around 8 o'clock, maybe a little earlier, and we're pretty close to a lake. So I'm gonna take this wood. It's much more work doing it, but I'm gonna take it there and try to get a view of that lake while I split. I love firewood and hand splitting. I love beautiful scenery. So I'm gonna try to put them together. I think that'd be a great background, Cave Run Lake. Beautiful place. I just randomly got this idea while we were out there getting the wood ready. But I decided that we would go to Cave Run Lake and split the wood there. That way we could have a beautiful background and also maybe catch the sunset while we were at it. It's only about 20 minutes past the Wood, if I'm not mistaken, give or take. So it didn't take too long to get there, and we really enjoyed it. Probably scared a lot of people off, but there really wasn't that many people there anyways. So it turned out all right. That's a fish hatchery there, actually. And outside they had this big concrete tank, and you can look down in it and see a lot of huge fish. Here we are, Cave Run Lake. People probably think I'm crazy out here with a big load of wood about to split it, but that's what I'm about to do. Man, look at what a background too. Boats out there. There's the dam that we drove across. There's a good place for you to sit, Carter. Beautiful view. People probably think I'm crazy out here doing this. There's people out on the lake still, and I'm here unloading firewood to split. All red oak and walnut, so it should be some pretty easy splitting. I remembered old Excalibur this time. Brought him along for the journey. I missed him. Echoing out here on its leg. I don't know what I said right there. But I think I said it was echoing the axe whenever I was using it, and it kind of was there. I think some of the people at the lake were probably thinking it was either gunshots, or some of them though drove past me, and then they were probably just thinking, well, it's some crazy guy with an axe or something. It's probably the first time I've ever seen anything like that at the lake. It was honest, I went kind of back to a place where there wasn't a whole lot of people. Beautiful view though. And I split it there. I just wanted a view of that lake. I guess that would pretty happy with how it turned out. But if you look at, I know I've talked about the Fiskars a whole lot, but if you can look at the head on that axe, I don't know if I'm going to hold it still long enough for you to do that, but it's like a wedge. I mean, and I've thought about it to myself. Like, I've used many other axes besides the Fiskars, and I honestly have to say it splits better than any other axe I've ever used. And I think what it is they've really got it down, the splitting pattern for an axe head. I know there's many different looks to axe heads and many different profiles and things like that, and what I'm interested in is what works. And I'm telling you right now, it may not be an old vintage axe head, and it may not be a fancy wooden handle, but it's a simple design on that head that works for splitting. It's simple as that. It works. If you haven't ever used one, try them out and you'll see what I'm talking about. And not only that, if you seen me the other day on one of my videos, I had a single bit and a double bit. The double bit I had borrowed, and the guy that let me borrow the double bit gave me a single bit, and it had a decent splitting profile on the single bit, and it got stuck horribly in this oak. This oak is tough stuff. The Fiskar just makes it look easier than it is, honestly. I mean, that's just the truth. When you use a regular axe on it, or most of them anyways, that I've used, I won't even say most of them, the ones that I've used, because I know there are axes out there with much better splitting profiles than some of the ones I used the other day, and axes I've used in the past. But I've never seen one that had a head quite like the Fiskars there, because the way it is it's narrow at the tip. It's very sharp, but the tip is also not wide like a chopping axe would be. I mean, the head of it on the very end is only probably like 3 inches wide or something like that, maybe 4. And so the way I believe they did that intentionally, which I'm sure they did, I believe the reason why is because all your power is generated in that one little space that you're connecting with. So it's not spread out over like 6 inches of axe head. It just spread into like 3 or 4 inches. And to me, it seems to work better for splitting. And then that wedge shaped head too really works good. A lot of people have left anyways. Oh well. I came to get a view, buddy. That's what I plan to do. Another thing too, it's really great for that head is it doesn't get stuck very easily at all, and that's one of the biggest differences I noticed between it and most other axes I use. Is most of the other ones seem to get stuck pretty bad. Not all of them, but a lot of them that I've used. Like I said, I know I've seen guys that I watch on here, with the axes with the thick splitting profiles, and they seem to work much better. But I've never seen one with a head like the Fiskars. The old styles just didn't have that.
that I ever seen though. I'll tell you another one I'm very interested in. And, many of you are probably familiar with a channel called My Self Reliance. Sean James. I've watched him for years. That he's built his own cabin, and now he's building another one. And many of you that know anything about him probably know that. But I really enjoy his videos. I mean, they're so relaxing. He does a lot of good cooking, woodworking, cabin building. I mean, they're really relaxing videos. Something that interests me a whole lot. And I've really watched him for probably 4 or 5 years now, something like that. About the same amount of time I watched Buck and Billy Ray. Started watching Buck and Billy Ray years ago. Um, but he has an axe on there, and it's called the something splitter. Can't remember exactly what it's called, but I found one online the other day locally here. Well, pretty local. It may have actually been a state over, even. I said locally, now I think about it. Or it may have just been in Kentucky, but kind of far away. But anyways, it looked to be like it needed to be cleaned up, but it was the same exact axe he has. And if you know the one I'm talking about, it's some kind of axe that, as it connects, there's some kind of springs or something that push push the head out or something like that, like sort of like a wedge. I'm sure somebody, if anybody's familiar with what I'm talking about, knows better than me. I can't explain it the greatest, but anyways, it has some sort of springs or gears or something in it that whenever pressure is built up when you hit the wood, it causes the head to spread out and it spreads the wood. Maybe it was called the chopper or something. I'm not sure what it was called. But anyways, I found one locally and I'm thinking about getting it. Or if not it, I'm still thinking about getting one if that one sells or something. Because I'm very interested in trying it out. It seemed to work very well for him. I'm yawning once again. I'm at home at nighttime doing these videos. I think my girls are asleep and my wife is laying down. My boys are still up. I let them stay up a little bit later, but they're about to go to sleep too. I let them stay up too late sometimes, really. When every one of my kids are homeschooled, but when it's on school nights, I try to be better about making. Well, my wife especially does. She's probably more strict about it than me, but she likes to make sure they go to bed at a reasonable time on school nights. And Carter, what he does usually, he'll go with me through the day, and then in the evenings he'll do his schoolwork. Or when he doesn't stay with me, or when he doesn't go with me, he'll stay home and do his schoolwork. We actually only have two that are in homeschool right now. It's Carter and my other son. Both of my little girls. One of them's only 8 months old. The other one's 4 and hasn't started yet. She'll be starting next year probably. Every one of my kids are homeschooled though, and I intend to keep it that way for the rest of their lives. But I have my own personal reasons for that. I won't get too much into that. But I'm here again at nighttime sitting up editing this, and it does take a while. I think the other night it took me 3 or 4 hours to edit a video. Literally. It took 3 or 4 hours. Like right now, what I'm doing, I'm manually adding in audio and audio recording while I'm watching the video myself. Like right now, what you're seeing, I'm seeing it too, and so I'm able to talk about that while I watch it, which is pretty handy, really. Especially with my phone because the speaker's messed up on it, and sometimes when I talk, like if I'm far, that ain't even far away where I'm at right there, but if I'm that far away from my phone, a lot of times I'll talk and it won't even pick it up. I don't know what I did to my speaker. I haven't even had this phone that long. It's an iPhone. I like iPhones a lot, and it has a HD camera on it. It has a good camera. But I am definitely wanting to maybe get me a GoPro, and I'm wanting to get one of those headbands or whatever it's called, that to where you can put the GoPro on your head. I think that'd be really interesting to do some hand splitting while you're wearing one of those. I think that would be pretty cool. And not only that, but they've got waterproof cases and stuff for them. And this winter, when I'll be out, I'll probably be out in the rain and out in the snow and stuff like that. So that case would be handy. That's what's happened to this phone. Like I have an OtterBox for it, but I took it off because it was I think it was doing something to the audio maybe. So I took it off, and now I've already cracked the phone and everything. But I'm really bad about breaking things. I remember one day I had one in my pocket and was trying to move a log from a tree service, and he had left the logs way too big. That's part of the reason why I quit dealing with the tree service. This guy, he had huge saws. I mean, and he was plenty able to. I think he ran mainly. Was it a 460 steel? something like that. I've never had them those, so I'm not sure what they're called exactly. But it was a 4 something, or maybe 660 even. He had some big saws, whatever they were, and he ran a tree service, and so he was plenty capable of cutting them up. But I would get wood from him pretty frequently, and he even told me, he said, you know, you're a pretty reliable guy to get it. He said a lot of people tell me they'll come get it, and they never do. And I could see why after I got it from him for a while, because I would get the wood or I would get there to get the wood, and it would be in 300-pound sections. And I'm not underestimating it. I'm not exaggerating. I mean, when I say that, um, there was times, and I would have a trailer is what I would have. It was a utility trailer, and it had a gate on it. So what I would do is just get there by myself a lot of the times and go get these big rounds and fight them up on that trailer gate. And man, it would put a hurting on me sometimes. And I know that's a way to maybe permanently hurt your back, and that's something I'm really trying to avoid if I can. But I don't know how long I'll be able to do that. Hopefully for a very long time though. But anyways, like I said, some of them they'd be 3 foot wide pieces of oak. I remember one time, and they were he left them probably 2.5 feet tall, something like that. So he left them tall, and they were huge to begin with. So he could have made it much easier on me. Some of them were probably actually over 2.5 feet tall. Some of them were probably 3 feet tall. So I'm not exaggerating when I say this. I mean, I was probably rolling up 300-pound pieces of oak onto that trailer. And there was more than one time that he did it. And the last time that he did it, I just quit dealing with them. After that, I just quit. But another thing, it's good to get wood from tree service. It's a good way to get wood. I had 2 different tree services I got it from in the past. But it's green wood usually when you get it. Unless the tree is dead or something already, it's green wood usually. So you got to split it, which is normal for a lot of people. But the way I've done it, being able to get it from the logged out land, I mean, it works really good. And before I got it from the logged out land, I got it from a cattle farmer for probably my first year or two, actually, in Firewood. I think my second year I got it from him, and I got it from the land that I'm getting it from now. But I didn't realize there was a big pile in the back for over a year, or for at least a year. I didn't realize that pile was back there. He had mentioned it before, but I didn't know how big of a pile it was. And he was talking about how the road was bad to get back there, so he said I shouldn't go if it rained. So I would just go and beside of his driveway there, and I would go up hills and everything, cut it up and roll it down to my brother, or if I was by myself, roll it down. And I mean, it would be a job just to get the wood to the trailer or to the truck, because I've delivered with trailers in the past. Don't intend to anymore, but anyways, I didn't realize that pile was there. And when I found the pile, I think last year maybe was the first year I actually found the pile. I've got wood from him now. This makes the 3rd year. But last year I think was the first time that I actually seen the pile. And I remember when I pulled up to it, I was in shock in a way. Not literally, but you know, I was in awe, I guess you could say. When I seen how big of a pile it was, I was thinking, this has been here this whole time, and I've been going up on these mountains and stuff, and way back off the road and up hills. And oh man, my brother went through some bad places. I remember we'd be up sometimes where we get the wood. I'd be in water up to at least over top of my boots. I mean, it was swampy, and we went in some bad places to get wood. But and after I seen that pile, I was thinking, oh my goodness, you know, look at this. This is enough wood for years, and it's easy access. They were literally just stacked oak trees on top of one another, oaks and some poplars and walnuts, and maybe a little bit of shagbark hickory in there as well, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, I was just so happy. I literally got down and thanked God on my knees and thanked God when I seen it. Literally, I got down on my knees and put my hands up and I said, thank you, God, for that. I mean, I was so happy for it, so thankful. And that's exactly what it was a blessing. The way that wood came about to me, it was so, I mean, I'd never had nothing like that really happen before. I found access to it before, but never like that. And it was just my tax professional. He seen that I did firewood, and he said, well, I just had 200 acres logged out. Are you interested in coming and getting some wood? And I said, yeah, I'm interested. And so after I seen that pile, though, man, I was so happy. It was such a relief, because the previous year my brother had helped me, and that helped out a whole lot. And, you know, it was hard sometimes with me and him, the way we were having to get the wood. And so I knew I was going to be by myself, and Carter, of course, he tries to help, but he's so little right now. So I was worried about it, to put it lightly, about what I was going to do and how I was going to make it work. But when I seen that wood, I was thinking, oh well, now I can do this. I've got easy access. I can pull right up to this wood, buck it up, and split it and take it on. I mean, I was so happy. And that year I stayed busy all year, if I'm not mistaken, all winter long. This year I've been pretty busy with the firewood already, and it's just now starting to cool down. It seems like I think I've seen it on. That's been getting down in the 40s on my phone. It was showing, and this coming week I think is even supposed to get down in the 40s. So yeah, now's the time to stalk it really. If you aren't stalked on it already, now's a good time to start getting it ready. The firewood. From what they say, we're supposed to have a bad winter. I don't know how true that is, but definitely better be safe than sorry. That's for sure. I remember when we had that ice storm and the electric went out, how many people were unprepared for it. I was at a store, a hardware store, and a guy came up to me while we were standing there in line, and he said, I wasn't prepared for this at all. He said, I didn't expect this. I mean, some people's electric was out for over a week, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, too, from what I heard, a lot of people lost their lives during that ice storm because it was all over the place, not just in Kentucky. And if I'm not mistaken, I heard that a lot of elderly people literally froze to death, I guess. Their blood's thinner and stuff like that. And if their electric's out and they have nothing else, like the guy that I delivered to here in one of my recent videos, he's an elderly man and his went out, and he was talking about how worried he was. And he said that he just has a hard time getting people to come out there to where he lives because it's so far out. And he said he was very thankful that I came out there. And so that made me really happy. It just makes you feel good to know that. In the past, I'll tell you something I've done that I regret very bad, and I don't like to admit this, but in the past, I took on more orders than I could handle before, um, because I delivered wood through myself, and then one year I delivered through LIHEAP as well, and it's a service that helps if your income is below a certain amount. They will help you with your heating bills, and so I delivered through them and to people that they were helping with firewood. And they would get them a full quart is what they would do, I think, once a month. And so they would send me like 3 or 4 people to my email at once, and I was doing it on my own as well. And I just got in over my head, honestly. Like, I couldn't keep up with the orders. And so there would be times that I wasn't able to deliver it to people because you only had so many days to do it through them. Once they sent it to you, I think you had 2 days to get the wood to them. And it was just hard for me. I ended up struggling with that. And that's something I regret greatly because those people depend on the wood. And if I'm not mistaken, they got somebody else to bring it to them. But finally, I told them, I messaged the woman, and I said, I'm sorry. I said, I just can't keep up with both. I said, just take me off your list. I'm not going to be able to do it through you all and for myself as well. I mean, I think that was the first year maybe that I actually tried really doing it like that. Or maybe it was just my first year I wasn't so busy because my first year I didn't have the regular customers like I do now. And so it wasn't as busy then. But now I think I've got over 50 people saved in my phone right now, or around that, give or take. That's I just put FWC and then I put their name or their address or whatever, or both. And FWC just means firewood customer. And when I did lawn care, I had it in my phone, LCC, lawn care customer, and I had a lot of those as well. So it just makes it easy when you're running a business to be able to get to your contacts quick. You just go to the L's for your lawn care customers and to the S for your firewood customers. I noticed this earlier. This kind of gets kind of weird here, the color. And I hate that too because that view is so beautiful right there. And that color is like going in and out. So that's what I said. I'm definitely going to have to get me either a better iPhone. This one's an iPhone X, I think. So maybe an iPhone 10. And I was looking at one here recently. I think it's an iPhone 13 Pro. And honestly, I've never been somebody that keeps up with these new phones and stuff like that because it seems like as soon as you get a phone, it seems like they just come out with another new one. And a lot of them, it just seems like they don't even have much more to them. I'm just not big into that. I'll say that. Honestly, the reason why I'm doing it now mainly is for to be able to record these videos and get good footage. And I could do a GoPro, and I've thought about that. The only downfall with that, from what I see, is the ones I read about, anyways, their battery's only supposed to last like an hour. So I really didn't like that. And normally I'd be able to charge my phone, but I've got to order the part for my truck. It's not a fuse. I already checked the fuse. It went out on me, I think, this year. I used to be able to charge my phone in my truck, but now I'm not. And like here, even I was trying to rush because I wanted to try to get as much footage as I could. And the reason why is my phone was getting close to dying. Like it doesn't last a full day if I use it to record.
Caught them. Two of them. Stragglers.
Another reason I like having a phone with a good camera is because I take a lot of pictures of my kids, and that's very important to me, honestly. My mama used to do that a lot with us. She would take home videos and a lot of pictures and stuff like that, and I record videos of my kids on my phone and my wife and just things that we do and stuff, and I like to get some good quality ones. But so I like the iPhones pretty well. They have good cameras on them. But I was recently looking at one online, and it's an iPhone Pro 13 Pro, and you can get it on payments. So I'm thinking about maybe doing that. That way, for one, the audio's messed up on this one, so I do intend to maybe take this to a place. There's a place in Lexington that repairs them, so I may take them there and try to get the microphone repaired on this one. And if I do that, I'll probably give it to my wife. She has a phone too. Hers is Android, and I'll probably give this one to her because this one has the better camera and stuff than hers actually. And so if I get that one, I'll probably give this one to her if she wants it, or get her another one, whatever. We're not real picky people with stuff like that, and don't try to spend a whole lot of money on things like that usually. I never have. I've never had a car payment in my life up to date. So I just try to manage my money. I don't make a whole lot of money, so I've got to learn to manage it. I mean, I make a decent living, don't get me wrong. I do. I'm able to support my family and things like that. But uh, right now, too, with the economy the way it is, I think just everyone's struggling more than they were anyways. I know I have. Just everything, just where I use so much gas and what I do in the summer and in the winter. I mean, it's made a big difference. Thank goodness gas has finally come down some. It was here at one point. It was almost $5 a gallon, which is ridiculous. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. I ain't gonna get political because I know that can cause a lot of trouble and drama. I don't like to get into that, and a lot of people believe one way and a lot of people believe another, it seems like. But I'll tell you one thing, I don't like the way things are going in our country. I'll say that much. I think it's ridiculous myself, but that's, like I said, that's about as far as I'll go with that. I ended up getting a big load here, actually, out of all this. I ended up getting a very big load, so I was pretty happy with that. Carter kind of stood over there on the dock and played around, or deck, I guess you could call it. It's not really a dock. It's not out on the water. Just kind of out overlooking the water. Beautiful view from there. And as you can see, I don't know if it showed that part yet, but there's a big oak tree growing right through it. They built the deck around an oak tree, and it's really pretty the way they did it. It actually didn't take too long to split this wood either. See, if I'm not mistaken, I didn't put any of this in like a faster mode like I do sometimes to try to contain the video down, because this video wasn't as long as some of my videos. I'm looking at right now, and it says it's 34 minutes, 35 seconds, I believe. So I left all the splitting the way it was because I like to, every now and then, when I watch people, I like to see the splitting, just how it goes. And so this comes out to around 2 face chords here, and it was done in less than 30 minutes, so that's not too bad. Because this video is 34 minutes, but I think the first 4 minutes is me at the other place, which is in a different county. So I think it took around 25 to 30 minutes or something to split this. I did sit down and take a break, probably a couple times, but I cut that part out.
Mm-hmm. It does. Be real pretty here when the leaves change. That dock down there would be pretty to walk out on, but you probably ain't supposed to be there unless you got a boat. No wood. This tree, look how they built that the oak. What oak looks like. They built that this deck right around it. Big oak too. Inches, I like those. Do it. Pretty, isn't it? Beautiful area. I think I've ran a lot of people off. They took field up. Big load. Should be happy with that. Tired? Man, that's pretty. And when it turns fall, I think we're all going to come out here in the evening. This was just, I thought about this today as I was out there in the wood. Not too far from here. It's about 20 minutes from the wood, so something like that, give or take. So I figured I would come out. I was hoping to catch the sunset. I think it's on the other side, though. I'll take this, though. It's beautiful. All right, Carter, it's going to get dark on us soon. You about ready? Mm-hmm. Sit on. Got a good load of wood out of that. I've left a little bit here for the fire pit. Had some bark and some extra wood. Still a little big, but you can burn it down the coals. It's a good load right there. Red oak, and it's a big load. It's a big load. Red oak and walnut. Good load. Good load of wood. Should be very happy with that. Carter? Yep. Heading on, it's gonna get dark on us. Might be able to catch the sunset on the dam if my phone don't die. We're on the dam. Oh, I think I was a little late on the sunset, but you can see it somewhat. Man, what a view. There's a park down there. And thing now. Yeah, there's the spillway. I don't know what that is. Beautiful place to split some wood, huh, Cardi? Daniel Boone Forest is all around here too, so soon we'll probably be getting some out of there. Let's head home and relax. Thank you for watching, everyone. Be safe doing this kind of work, and God bless you.